Hello boys and girls, thanks for tuning into my show, Pick Your Battles, the one show you need to be watching if you want to make money on this weekend's UFC fights. This weekend we land in Abu Dhabi and we have an epic showdown between Magomed Ankalaev and Bogdan Guskov, who's taking this fight on short notice. This fight card is littered with heavy favorites and amazing fights that I think will make you money. Gone over tape on most of the fights, and in today's video I'll be focusing on just the few that I've taped and I think stand the best chance to make you some money. I'll be going over confident favorites, my underdog picks, and some amazing parlays that I think could absolutely bang, which I'll touch on and recap on the next video as well. Without much further ado, let's jump right into the first section of the video, which is Slam of the Week, where I pick one or two fighters that you can parlay together to make some guaranteed money. For today's video, I've got two fighters that I'm going to give you. The first pick is going to be That's right. First pick of Slam of the Week is Axel Sola, the French fighter who's taking on Ismail Bonfim this weekend. In all honesty, I've watched tape on both fighters, and even before I jump into a technical analysis of either fighter, I just have to say that Axel Sola displays way more grit, heart, and will to win in the fight. Ismail Bonfim is very similar to another fighter that I love in the UFC, who is Terrence McKinney. He comes in with all the power in the first 3 to 4 minutes of the fight, and if he hurts you, he will take your life in that very first round. However, if you touch him and if he feels a disruption in his rhythm, you could easily be looking at Ismail Bonfim getting knocked out in the first round. In my opinion, Axel Sola just has the way better weapons. He throws knees, elbows, kicks to the head from the southpaw stance, and it's just going to be too dangerous for Ismail Bonfim to counter against. I see Axel Sola pressing Ismail Bonfim against the cage, landing heavy punches from the southpaw stance, either to Ismail's head, to his body. That liver kick is going to be right and wide open, and I see him coming out with the victory. Alright, and for the second pick of my Slam of the Week, we have none other than Yes, that's right. For my second pick, I'm going with Walter Walker, the heel hook submission specialist. In my opinion, Thomas Peterson has nothing for Walter Walker in this fight. He's not someone that I have rated as highly, and I have no idea why he's still in the UFC. Out of the 6 fights he's had in the UFC, he's won 3 by decision, and he's lost twice by knockout, once by decision. I think Walter Walker looks to continue his heel hook submission threat and will probably get the 5th heel hook submission in his UFC run. I don't know how much longer he can keep getting away with this kind of thing, but I highly doubt that Thomas Peterson is going to have anything for him on the feet or on the ground. Give me Walter Walker by brutal heel hook submission and adds another foot to his collection. So if you parlay both Walter Walker and Axel Sola together, that gives a quite decent payout of plus 133, which I think is excellent value for your money. Considering the skill level of these fighters and their opponents, I don't see any way that this does not hit. some confident favorites that I think you can trust to put in your parlays. Like I had mentioned, this fight card is littered with heavy favorites, and I think that one or two of them are actually going to fumble the bag, but it's my job to watch tape to make sure that you know who you can trust. So we're going over 4 favorites on this fight card. To start off, we have Magomed Tuchalov, Sam Patterson, Islam Dulatov, and Magomed Ankalaev in the main event. You can see all these fighters up on the screen with the odds as well. But let's get started talking about Magomed Tuchalov. He's actually a new fighter to the UFC and has fought decent competition on the regional scene at UAE Cage Warriors. However, he's taking on Brandison Ribeiro, who is on a 3-fight losing streak and has been finished in all those fights in the UFC. Typically, when a fighter comes in with 3 finished losses, they don't really show up confident to the next fight. And this is where I see Tuchalov presenting problems to Ribeiro, who's probably accumulated a lot of damage and doesn't really have the best chin as it is. Tuchalov seems to genuinely enjoy himself in the cage, and a fighter who's having fun is a fighter you should be scared of. I think Tuchalov easily puts out Ribeiro in the 2nd or the 3rd round. Next up, we have Sam Patterson taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. Sam Patterson is a jiu-jitsu specialist who's recently discovered his love for striking, and he's taking on an aging 39-year-old Santiago Ponzinibbio. I'm actually really surprised that they gave Ponzinibbio this fight. I'm not sure what he's done to the promotion to get this punishment, but there's not much to be said here if you can see the odds. Sam Patterson is going to come into this fight looking to win back some of the aura he lost after his last fight with Michael Venom Page. I think he's looking to show the fans a fun fight and will likely get a knockout or a finish in the 2nd or 3rd round as well. Next up, we have Islam Dulatov taking on Wellington Turman. In all honesty, this is what I would call a setup fight for Islam Dulatov. Islam Dulatov has power in his hands and is a knockout specialist, and his opponent Wellington Turman has not fought in the UFC or fought at all for that matter in the last 3 years. We've seen this before, right? A fighter in the UFC who had mixed success comes back. It's a combination of ring rust and just the sport having moved on from their time, and I don't see any path to victory here for Wellington Turman. I think Dulatov is simply on a different level and has much more forward momentum at this point in his career. For my final prediction, I think Islam Dulatov gets a devastating knockout. And lastly, we're looking at Magomed Ankalaev taking on Bogdan Guskov in the main event of the evening. This fight is actually going to be fireworks because Ankalaev, the former champ, just lost his belt to Alex Pereira in the rematch for the light heavyweight title. It was not a good look at all for him, and I expect him to come into this fight looking to prove a point that he deserves to be at the very top of the division. Ankalaev was actually supposed to take on Khalil Roundtree Jr., who had to pull out of this fight because of an injury, and that's where Bogdan Guskov stepped in. Guskov, on the other hand, was preparing for a 3-rounder fight with Jan Blachowicz, and I honestly prefer this matchup way more. Ankalaev is not someone who we typically associate with a lot of finishes. He's got a lot of decision fights in his UFC career. I think Ankalaev has power in his hands for one, and has good enough takedown defense to not let Bogdan explore the options on the ground. Moreover, I think Ankalaev's southpaw stance is going to present some serious problems to Bogdan Guskov's striking. Ankalaev is going to use his kicks to the body and to the head to keep Bogdan's right side occupied. And on top of that, Ankalaev has a beautiful jab that we see in all his fights, all the way from Johnny Walker to the Alex Pereira fight, that he causes serious damage with. I also give Ankalaev the cardio advantage because he was preparing for a 5-round fight, whereas Guskov, on the other hand, was preparing for a 3-rounder fight. In all my visualizations of this fight, I don't see Bogdan Guskov actually having a serious path to victory in this fight. I think this fight does improve his resume, but for my final prediction, give me Ankalaev pressing Bogdan Guskov against the cage, landing devastating shots, and the referee jumping in to stop the fight for a round 3 or round 4 technical knockout or knockout. All right, for the next section, I wanted to highlight very quickly 2 underdogs on this card that I believe have great value based on the tape that I've watched on them. The first fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Mike Davis taking on Nurullo Aliyev. Now, we're quite familiar with Mike Davis by now. He's fought in the UFC for many years, and yes, he looks like one of those fighters that is slowly getting to the tail end of his career, but I think people are counting him out way too soon, especially when it comes to Nurullo Aliyev. Aliyev doesn't have the most exciting style to watch. He honestly throws a lot of hooks. His striking doesn't look the smoothest, but it's effective in getting him the takedowns that he needs. Another thing I noticed about Aliyev is he switches stances a lot, especially in moments against that last fight of his with Shamrock. Speaking of that Shamrock fight, that's a fight that really did not look good on Aliyev. In the second round, he couldn't even keep Shamrock down, and we all know by now that Shamrock is not a really good fighter in the UFC. So my worry here, specifically with this fight, is that Mike Davis can let the fight slip away from him, and Aliyev might just pin him down to the ground and control him. However, I think that Mike Davis is the more physical of the two. He has more muscle, throws with bad intentions, and isn't just looking to hold you down and wrestle to a decision. I think that Mike Davis can actually knock out Nurullo Aliyev or control him and put him in tricky submissions like that calf slicer against Fares Ziam that he attempted. So for my final prediction, give me Mike Davis. I think the safest option is to choose him by money line. And for the second underdog of this fight card, I won't go into too much detail because there's not enough time at the moment. But I did like what I saw on Damian Rizpeki. His opponent, Magomed Zainikov, also known as John Park, has a Muay Thai style and throws a lot of teeps and low kicks. He has a lot of hype coming in from the Khabib training camp, but my biggest critique of him is that he doesn't move his head a lot, which caused him to take a lot of damage in his Dana White's Contender Series fight. Rizpeki, on the other hand, has a good flow fighting out of both stances easily while pressuring forward. I watched his fight against Giorgio Esiavana in FEN and loved his smothering style where he looks to take his opponent to the ground and looks for a finish, whether ground or pound or a submission. Now for this fight specifically, I think it's going to go over 1.5 rounds, and I expect it to start striking until Rizpeki is able to take this fight to the ground, where he might have a situation where he pushes Zainikov against the cage. I mainly side with Rizpeki because he's the younger fighter. He has been more active against better competition, and I think he's able to get Zainikov against the cage and land a devastating blow or take him down and hold him to a decision. I don't think he's going to get a submission, especially off of someone coming from Khabib's camp. So for my final prediction, give me Damian Rizpeki by KO or decision. Alright guys, for the last section of this video, we have my parlays for this fight card, and today I want to give you 6 parlays that I think will hit. Again, this is not guaranteed money, so play carefully. But for the first parlay, I'm going to go with my slam of the week, which is Walter Walker and Axel Sola, parlayed together for plus 133. The next parlay is big money. It's Axel Sola by KO or decision, Magomed Ankalaev by KO or decision, Islam Dulatov by KO, and Mike Davis as an underdog sprinkle. We have the next parlay at 4 legs at plus 768 with Magomed Ankalaev, Walter Walker, the under 1.5 rounds on the Dulatov and Turman fight. I know that it's most likely going to be a Dulatov KO, but I figured might as well just add that in to be safe. And Damian Rizpeki as my underdog sprinkle. On the 4th parlay at plus 673, we have Axel Sola by KO or decision, Magomed Ankalaev by KO or decision, Islam Dulatov by KO, and Walter Walker by sub. The next parlay is quite similar, except we're subbing out Walter Walker for Sam Patterson by KO or sub. And very last parlay at plus 246. We have 5 legs, which I think are going to be quite safe. Magomed Ankalaev, Magomed Tuchalov by KO or sub, Sam Patterson, Walter Walker, and the under 1.5 rounds on the Dulatov and Turman fight. All right, guys, and that brings us to the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed the new format I've been trying. Let me know if you have any comments about things you'd like to see in the show, maybe new sections you'd like to see added in. As always, have fun watching the fights, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video where I'll look over the results from this weekend's fights as well. Peace.